The moment you strap into a fighter jet cockpit, you're entering a world where split-second decisions mean life or death. But here's the shocking truth. American and Russian pilots are trained in completely different universes. And those differences? They're deciding who owns the skies right now. Let's start with the numbers that'll blow your mind. U.S. Air Force pilots graduate with over 200 flight hours before they even touch a combat aircraft. Russian pilots? They're lucky to get 120 hours. That's almost half the training time. But it gets crazier. Once they're operational, American fighter pilots average 180 to 240 flight hours per year. Russian pilots, around 100 to 120 hours annually. That's the difference between a surgeon and someone who watched a YouTube tutorial. Here's where it gets wild. American pilot training is built on one philosophy. Think for yourself, adapt, dominate. From day one at undergraduate pilot training, U.S. pilots are thrown into complex scenarios. They're flying in terrible weather, at treetop level, hitting targets within 5 to 10 seconds of planned time, while simulated threats are trying to kill them. It's brutal. It's designed to break you or forge you into a weapon. Russian training? Completely different beast. Their system treats pilots like chess pieces, not chess players. Most VKS training flights are singles or pairs doing basic navigation, dropping unguided bombs on empty ranges, and supporting ground forces. They're trained to think of air power as flying artillery, not as a way to control massive chunks of airspace. It's robotic, controlled, and when things go sideways in real combat, that rigidity becomes a death sentence. Let's talk about the physical hell both sides endure. American pilots spend serious time in centrifuges, getting spun at 9 Gs until they're on the edge of consciousness. They learn breathing techniques, the anti-G straining maneuver, how to keep blood in their brain when their body wants to shut down. Russian pilots go through similar torture, but here's the kicker. All that physical training means nothing if you don't have the flight hours to apply it in real combat maneuvering. The US has something Russia simply cannot match: Top Gun and the weapons school. These aren't just schools, they're temples of aerial warfare. The best of the best learn to fight against dissimilar aircraft, to think 3 moves ahead, to coordinate massive strike packages with dozens of aircraft. Russia has the 116th Combat Training Center at Astrakhan, but it's nowhere near the same scale or sophistication. Here's the part that should terrify Russian commanders. American pilots train in what's called COMAO operations, composite air operations. That means coordinating fighters, bombers, tankers, electronic warfare aircraft, and AWACS all working together to dominate huge sections of airspace. Russian doctrine? Get in, drop bombs, get out. Control small pockets of air temporarily. It's a fundamentally defensive mindset. The technology gap makes this worse. U.S. pilots have access to world-class simulators that can replicate any threat, any weather, any emergency. They can die 1,000 times in simulation before they ever face real danger. Russian simulator technology exists, but it's not at the same level, forcing them to rely more on actual flight time they simply don't have enough of. And here's the brutal reality playing out right now over Ukraine. Russian pilots are being shot down not just because of Ukrainian air defenses, but because their training never prepared them for this level of complexity. They're flying predictable patterns, using tactics that work great on a training range, but fall apart when someone's actually trying to kill you. The US even sends experienced pilots to aggressor squadrons where they learn to fly and think like the enemy. They study Russian tactics, aircraft capabilities, and doctrine so American pilots know exactly what they're up against. It's like studying your opponent's playbook before the Super Bowl. But here's what keeps US Air Force generals up at night. Russia is still producing 100 to 150 new pilots every year. The quantity is there. The quality? That's the question. And when you lose experienced instructors in combat, like Russia has in Ukraine, the quality of future pilots drops even further. It's a death spiral. The difference between these two training systems isn't just academic. It's the difference between air superiority and air disaster. American pilots are trained to be lethal, adaptable warriors who can handle anything the sky throws at them. Russian pilots are trained to follow orders and execute specific tasks. And in modern air combat, that's the difference between coming home and becoming a statistic.